In the heart of Okigwe, nestled between the Whispering Hills and the ancient forest of Imo State, there once lay a sacred grove known as Uhamiri's Keep, a place no hunter dared to tread after dusk, and where even the birds kept silent. The villagers of Okigwe believed the grove to be guarded by the spirits of the ancestors, and hidden within its depths was a treasure that many spoke of, but none had ever seen: the drum of Okigwe. This was no ordinary drum. It was said to be carved from the Iroko tree that grew from the grave of Ezemuo, the first high priest of the region. The drum could summon rain, part clouds, call the spirits of the dead, and even silence war. But its power came with a warning. Only a true griot, one whose voice carried truth and whose heart bore no envy, could play the drum without awakening its wrath. Now, many generations later, the legend of the drum had faded into bedtime stories and firelight whispers. That is, until a young man named Obina returned to the village. Obina had left Okigwe when he was only 10. His father, a respected storyteller and village griot, had died mysteriously in the grove, trying to retrieve an old family artifact. Obina was taken to the city by an uncle, raised among loud horns and concrete skies. But city life had never soothed his spirit. Something always pulled at him, a voice in the wind, a drum beat in the silence. When he turned 25, he returned to Okigwe, not as a city man, but as a seeker. The villagers eyed him curiously. He wore no agbada, no gold chain. He came with only a wooden flute, a journal, and the old leather bag that once belonged to his father. Children gathered to hear him play under the ube tree, and elders nodded when he recited proverbs long forgotten. But there was one man who watched Obina with cold eyes, Chief Nkemakolam, the current custodian of Okigwe's shrines and secrets. He had taken the position after Obina's father died, though many whispered that it was never meant for him. One evening, an old woman known as Mama Ijeoma, the oldest living soul in the village, sent for Obina. "My child," she rasped, her voice like wind through dry leaves. "Your father did not die by the spirit's will. He died because the drum rejected false hands." She reached into her wrapper and pulled out a small amulet, an onyx pendant shaped like an eye, which she hung around Obina's neck. "You are the last griot of your line. The drum still waits." Obina felt a fire awaken in him, like a song long silenced. That night, he dreamt of his father standing beneath the Iroko tree, his hands drumming on the air. The next morning, Obina set out to read as if whispering secrets. The trees bowed slightly, acknowledging his arrival. He followed a path he had never walked before but somehow knew, the same way a fish knows the river's current. At the heart of the grove stood the Iroko tree, enormous and ancient, its roots twisting over bones and moss. At its base was a mound covered in old cloth and leaves. Obina approached and uncovered it. There, nestled in the earth, was the drum of Okigwe. It was carved from black wood, its surface etched with sacred Nsibidi symbols. Its skin was stretched tight with something that looked like animal hide, but pulsed faintly like living flesh. Obina knelt, he took a deep breath and placed both hands gently on the drum. And then he played. The first beat sounded like thunder beneath the earth. The second brought a gust of wind that spiraled through the grove. The third awakened the spirits. Figures emerged, shimmering, half real. Some were dancers, others warriors, griots, and kings long gone. They formed a circle, humming in harmony with the drum, and at the center appeared Obina's father, smiling, proud. "You have come, my son." the spirit said, "You are the voice that carries our truth." Tears filled Obina's eyes. He drummed harder. The grove lit with an ethereal glow, and the sky above darkened, not with storm, but with ancestral memory. But back in the village, Chief Nkemakolam felt the shift. He rushed toward the grove, clutching a charm wrapped in red cloth. As he approached the tree, he screamed, "The drum is mine. It was always mine." He lunged at Obina, but the spirits moved first. The wind picked up and flung the chief back, his body writhing as shadowy hands pulled him into the earth, sealing his fate. The drum fell silent. Obina looked around. The spirits began to vanish, one by one, their duty fulfilled. His father stepped forward, one last time. "You have restored the griot's honor. Guard this vault well, for the voice of the people must never be silenced again." With that, he disappeared into light. When Obina returned to the village, he carried the drum. The elders wept, the children danced, the people sang. From that day, Obina became the keeper of the griot's vault. Each week, he would gather the villagers under the moonlight and tell stories, not just of the past, but of truth, resistance, hope, and love. He taught the children that stories were more than words. They were keys to memory, shields against oppression, and torches in darkness. And somewhere deep in the grove, the spirit of the drum listened, content once more.